Are you feeling humble today, or
Not at
are
all.
you? No, not at all. She's all right.
I don't even know what that is anymore.
Do we need to have a private conversation or even a public conversation with Robin about how she clips some of the things that we say that we shouldn't say and then plays them on a podcast? Is there something? Do we need to address that?
For the record, that's not even half the stuff you shouldn't say.
Hi, Casselberrians. It is now time to have a casual conversation for the beneficial good of our community. The show you are about to listen to is called What's Up, Casselberry? And now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you your hosts, Andy and Drew.
Oh, and don't forget that lovely producer, Robin.
What's up, Casselberry? Welcome back to the What's Up, Casselberry podcast. We are on episode number 78. Andy, I can't even count that high, but here we are.
Well, someone on our team could obviously count that high. Must be Robin.
Yeah, that's right. That's Robin doing the math for us. And producer Robin is one of the favorite parts of this podcast. Listener, if you're brand new to us, welcome. We have conversations with amazing guests, inspirational quotes, and motivations about all things Casselberry. And producer Robin is on the mic. She's here in the studio, even though we are meeting from our own home today.
I'm sorry, Andy, but, well, it's got to be done. It is now time for Drew's Dad Joke of the Day.
Andy, you thought I was going to skip this. No way. We're not.
I was hoping.
All right, here it is, Robin. This is for you, for our listeners, all handful that laugh and give me other dad jokes to share. Listener, what did the football coach say to the broken vending machine? Which vending machines are like barely a thing anymore, but you know what they are. What did the football coach say to the broken vending machine? Give me my quarterback. There it is. I'm not going to laugh. I'm just going to let the listener laugh if they so choose.
I'm going to pause so you can insert the crickets noise here.
For our Casselberry in the News, we are about breaking scoops. We're about sharing interesting factoids about our community, and this is well worth sharing and celebrating. We have a lottery jackpot winner right here in Casselberry, Florida. That's right. A $21.25 million winning ticket, one solo ticket, one person picked the correct numbers, and they're in Casselberry. It was purchased at the Casselberry Meat and Produce on 1792. And according to the news article, the retailer, so the Casselberry Meat and Produce owner, will receive a $100,000 bonus commission for selling the jackpot winning ticket. Over 21 million. That's a lot of cheese.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, obviously taxes will be involved, I'm sure, yes. So that won't be anywhere near that. But I mean, congratulations to, whoever won that. I mean, if you're looking for some philanthropic ideas as to how to use that money, you give us a call because we got some ideas, but congratulations to you. Drew, it's also fascinating, and I didn't realize this, that the retailer receives a bonus as well. Any chance that Willow Creek Church will start selling lottery tickets just to create another income stream there?
Oh, that's a good thought. I don't think so. But now it makes more sense of why they're right there at the checkout desk, just right in your line of sight. It's, hey, if by chance you get a win, then they get to win as well. Andy, I've thought a lot about this over the years. I'm not a lottery player. But I have thought about what would the rewards of winning look like. And so I'd love to get the podcast feedback. Would you take the lump sum? Like you said, they take out taxes and other things. So you may, if it's 21 million, maybe you get 9 million, just a one-time check. Or would you prefer to get several $1,000s every month over the course of your life? What's your course of action there? Any thoughts?
For me, the first thing I would do would be to call my tax guy and said, how can I get the most money? Is it in one lump sum or is it over time? So that would be my first call. If I couldn't get a hold of him, I'd probably say, give me it all at once, just because I know what I've got and I know what I'm working with. And I would rather actually have it in my account than it be in someone else's account where something could go wrong. What about you, Robin? Lump sum, monthly income?
You actually do get more if you take the spread over time. That's actually I think it's like a known fact. But I would take the lump sum because I am impatient. I just want it now.
The big question, though, is if you were to win $21 million, what do you do, Drew?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would certainly set up an account to make sure our son is cared for and some of his future decision opportunities are made available to him. We would certainly give some to our church and some other local organizations that we are passionate about. And then probably would head to Europe. We did a honeymoon, which was not on our dime, but a honeymoon cruise that was a lot of fun. And I think my wife and I are very keen on wanting to go do a longer kind of through Europe and some of the rivers there. That would be kind of our big splurge. What about you?
Nice. Podcast field trip on a cruise with Drew, Robin.
Yeah.
If you want to do some.
We could do some international. What's up, Casselberry International? There you
That's
go.
right. Do you think they've heard of Casselberry in Europe?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's actually not true. We do have listeners in France, according to our statistics. So
yeah, that was Davidson.
It was. We did.
And England too, and that's my parents.
Well, there you go. We have a fan base already.
Excellent.
Robin, what about you? If you won 21 million, what are you buying me? I mean, what are you using it on?
Well, we could go on a trip. We're going to go to Tokyo though. So, but we can just take a world trip after COVID calms down. I would probably give some to my mom so that she could stop working and I could just take care of my little mommy like she took care of me all my life and still now. And then
that's the best answer right there. No doubt. Good job, Robin.
I would also probably impulse buy a lot of things I don't need, but it's okay. I have millions of dollars now. And not expensive things, just like I'm going to Target and loading up.
Nice. Listener, if you are the winner, if you know the person that's the winner, tell them congratulations. Treat them with respect. Let's hope that they make good decisions and put a lot of the money back into this great city of Casselberry to make it an even better place.
Tell them we would love to be their philanthropic advisors.
That's right. We'll have them as a guest.
Free of charge. Free of charge.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of things that are going on in our city, things that we're very proud to share, hear a word from our sponsor. Willow Creek Church exists to glorify God by declaring with our words and demonstrating with our hands the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We invite you to come discover and deepen your relationship with Jesus. We believe you were created for more. Located between the communities of Casselberry and Winter Springs, Willow Creek Church is a warm, welcoming place that meets each and every Sunday at 10 a.m. for worship, as well as various Bible studies, small groups, social events, service outreach, and much more throughout the week. Check us out at willowcreekchurch.org or on Facebook at Willow Creek PCA. You are loved. Don't forget it.
Listeners, welcome back to this show. As always, of all the segments we have, this is one of our favorite because we get to host a conversation with someone who's doing some pretty cool stuff within our city and within our community. Today, we have a very special guest. And just by way of introduction, producer Robin for the last few weeks has been like nagging us to say, you got to get this lady on your show. You need to hear from her. She's doing some great stuff. And we agreed 100%. And we are thrilled that today Jennean Hutcheson has joined us to tell us a little bit about some of the projects that she's been working on in our community recently. So Jennean, first question, why was Robin so enthusiastic that you be our guest? Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. So I moved to Casselberry in 1997 and I went to UCF, graduated and got a job and never left. So I started at a software company right out of college and worked there for 10 years. And then after that, just started doing my own consulting here in Casselberry. And in Casselberry, I've always felt at home. So my heart's been here and my kids have grown up here. We bought our first house here. Since then, I've been doing a lot of small groups and getting very familiar with the families and the kids and the needs in our community. So I've been doing small groups for years, but the last, 6 months, it's kind of branched out a little bit to where it's too big for my house. And we've landed at the Ascension Lutheran Church and we've been doing just 6th through 9th grade girls that just come in and do arts and crafts and just love on them and just kind of build their character and their self-worth. They do crafts and we feed them. The big thing is we feed them. So I will feed all of Casselberry if they'll come on Thursdays. And it's now turned into a ladies group. And Robin actually got to come to one of our groups a couple of weeks ago. So I was excited to see her there.
So that's why she was so keen.
Yeah.
Benefited from these groups and these friendship circles that you're creating. There we go.
Jeannean, that's fantastic. I love even just your thought process behind wanting to raise your children in Casselberry. That's very much my wife and I's heart, and I know Andy's heart as well, to raise our children in Casselberry. What would you say is a couple of your favorite places about Casselberry, or even just a comment on why Casselberry is such a great place to raise a family?
Even though we're in the big city and we have everything at our fingertips, it still feels small. It just still feels warm and at home. We can still run to the mall and to the beach and, go downtown and where the craziness is all at, but then we can come back to our little Casselberry and it's kind of like a small town outside in the suburbs, but it's not. So I think that's just what always kept us here.
Yeah, you go to the store and you see someone you drive around the corner and you get to wave at a friend and things like that. That stuff is wonderful. It's a great quality of life. So, Jeannean, just before we came on air, you and Drew were talking about something that you have in common.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our family has grown through the process of adoption, and just found out through getting to know you a little bit that your family also brought a member into your family through adoption. That's awesome. You adopted locally within the state of Florida. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep, out of Tampa.
Out of Tampa. Yeah. We are very much advocates we adopted our child out of Lake County, and are just very thankful for to see kind of families be whole and be united together. And so I love sharing that with you. And speaking of, I think it's totally, let's get the conversation going onto really where your heart is, Jeannean, along with your family, about kind of caring for girls and young ladies. Would you share a little bit about some of the experiences you've had just growing up in Casselberry and some of the ladies that you've connected with here in this community?
The biggest thing that's been breaking my heart being here in Casselberry for so long is the girls in Casselberry that my children have gone to school with. So I have 2 girls in middle school right now.
God bless you for that. We know that just that statement creates a lot of stress for a lot of people.
and it's for good reasons. The fights, the drugs, and a lot of families and girls in this area, they don't have the stable homes or those living conditions, and they're really living in confusion. And I see that more and more every year as the girls get older and their friends that are around, and even in our neighborhoods, I just see the biggest need for these children, these age, especially to be loved on, especially the middle school girls, the challenges that they're facing on a daily basis. This age is tough enough, with just the normal insecurities and hormones, but there's just so many more negative influences being thrown at them, causing anxiety and depression. And I've watched one of my own daughters, and I don't mind saying this, go through the same thing. And she's in a loving home, and we're feeding her daily and loving on her and encouraging her, and she's getting through it. But imagine all of these girls that don't have that. So it just causes more confusion, and they're not getting the right influences. They're just showing someone's taking the time to show them that they love them, that they care, and that they can get through this.
I completely agree that, and that's part of Andy and I's stories collectively, is really finding ourselves not just pastors to a particular group of people in a particular church, but really to a community as a whole, as citizens wanting to walk alongside, see those individuals that come from maybe non-traditional or kind of fully formed families, being able to bridge the gap. Jeannean, tell me a little bit about the name behind kind of this idea, this concept of gathering around and supporting girls from different life situations.
The name of the group, we're calling it Lighthouse Girls. And we just it was just on my heart heavy just to be a lighthouse into my community. I truly believe that we have the authority and the know-how and the ability to help others just in our little circle. So I'm like, well, if we can just help our little circles, and I can just train up other even women to help their little circles, it could make a difference. Even if it's, the smallest difference per day, we can make a difference in these child's directions and their paths that they're on. So it turned into Lighthouse Girls from that, just wanting to be a beacon and a lighthouse into, especially my heart's really just in Casselberry.
I've spent many hours over the last few years in the middle school as my children have passed through there. And sometimes I've been on campus when there's been a class change and the bell has rung, or at lunchtime. And I'm just walking through this cloud, these swarms of people, and it just feels confusing. And I'm an adult. I'm 46 years old, walking through thinking, oh my goodness, I feel so insecure and confused by this. And to be able to offer some hope, some love, some light in the middle of those often dark and certainly confusing places is an incredible gift. So you need to kind of catch up. Your heart has been broken and saddened by some of the challenges that are facing young girls, especially when they don't have a supportive family or group around you. As you're kind of living with that sadness is turning into a vision to do something about it. So what is the expression of that vision starting to look like as you're moving forward to care for some of the young people in our community?
Started off by, I was being pulled to South Seminole. Really started off with just wanting to do a mental health club inside South Seminole, and maybe a club after school, just to really get to these girls in the school and just be a mentor, build that relationship, to be able to build that self-worth and character and just mentor them. And we met with Principal Coleman, and she saw the need. They have an awesome mental health curriculum that's already going on. And I think she saw the benefit of just adding another girls group to it. So she actually, instead of giving us a club, she gave us 8th period every Friday during school hours. So that was kind of a miracle in itself. So I'm like, we can do this during as an elective. So all the girls that come in, and I met with a group of girls before school got out, but all the girls that come in, I can do everything I've done in my small groups for years, but I can do it at school. And we can build the relationships with these girls and just build that self-worth. And no matter what their circumstances are, they may be good, they may be bad, no matter what they're going through, have someone they can trust or just talk to, but also just let them know that they matter and that they can change their circumstances and they can change the path that they're on.
To me, the power of what you and others that are serving as mentors are doing is really just being a rock for a young child, being a consistent person in their life. My experience in mostly mentoring elementary students, but really has been, it's not really about what you're teaching them academically, or it's really just being present, being around, checking in, following up. Without giving too much away, what are some specific really needs that you're kind of identifying that girls in middle school, I am probably the least qualified to know how to speak to middle school girls. What are some things that you're finding, Jeannean, in regards to your conversations with young ladies there?
The biggest thing is, out of the first group that I've met with, they don't want to go home. They didn't want to go home for the summer. They wanted to stay in school because that's where they get physically fed, and that's where they're away from whatever, is happening, any circumstances that's happening at their home, or maybe a lot of them live with their grandparents, but a lot of it is just hardness and just negativity and their insecurities. And they were literally fighting in my class when they first walked in. And once I just broke the class down and said, look, we're going to speak positive about each other. And we're not going to say anything negative this entire classroom. And if you can't say anything positive, we're just going to be quiet, and we're just going to sit here and we're going to enjoy this quiet time. And once I went through and just kind of talked to them all and just fed them, I brought them Chick-fil-A and cupcakes and just fed them. And they're like, what did we do? Did we do something right? Like, they were so confused why someone was loving on them. They just did not get it. Why do I get a cupcake? Why do I have a goodie bag? And once I loved on them and just showed them, look, someone cares. And they just all started opening up and just telling me their stories, and all the walls came down, and then they were all getting along. And then they wanted to hear, oh, you're going to say something positive about us? So I went through the room and just started, only was with them for an hour and a half, and just started talking to each one of them what I saw that stood out positive about each child. And at the end of it, they're like, are we going to do it again? They were just so hungry to hear something positive to build that character. And it encouraged them, and it really did. And I know they went home and it made their day, and hopefully it made their whole summer, they're excited to come back when we start back up in August.
I love that. One of the things, Jeannean, is we were kind of like exploring what we could do to help this situation is we met with the leader of the Young Men of Excellence program, which is in Seminole County Schools, which is primarily targeted at young men and young men of color. And that's a fantastic program that talks to not just the behavior of young boys, but to the character and heart of young boys as well. And what you're doing is speaking into the lives in a similar kind of way into these young ladies and telling them things that they need to know, that their life does matter, that they are valuable, they are loved, and there is a lot positive going on. And if they can grab some of that, then they can really make something of their lives. So let me kind of put my old man hat on the podcast with Drew and Robin. I often feel like the old man, but there's a lot of folks who read about young people today and they just kind of don't understand what's going on. And so often they kind of become negative about young people. And what advice would you give to someone, an older person, maybe like me or above, who wants to help young people but doesn't quite understand some of the challenges and pressures that come from being a teenager in our culture today?
I would absolutely just say to realize things are harder today, and you never know what situation or problem or challenge that child or teenager is dealing with. So someone just having possibly absolutely no guidance. So it's hard to critique and judge a kid when no one's really shown them the right way. So I would say just love them, give them grace, but truth, correct them in truth and love. And it can make a difference just by loving them. And if anyone has the time to sign up to be a mentor at these schools, it takes one person, just even 1 hour a week, to just be that somebody that, that kid knows they can go to, and that someone that cares. But just one person, one interaction can make that child feel loved and really change their lives, even the smallest interaction.
Jeannean, you have daughters, they're teenagers. What advice, if it's the whole do what I say and do what I do, but do what I say, what advice would you, from maybe your experience going through this life, what would you want to share with your young daughters? What do you hope there's a clear takeaway for them?
That's a tough one, but I think the biggest thing is to, not be so worried about what others think, just to do what you like, what's in your heart, and, choose your friends based on someone that's going to build you up, and not just because they're popular and it's going to make more people like you. And to be that friend to others that people call weird or that are by themselves. I try to drill that in my girls, be the one that stands up and goes and sits with that girl that no one likes. So I think even if it means joining band, do something different and follow your heart and stop worrying about what others think. I really think that it would make a big difference. And it definitely would have changed my life as a teenager.
Yeah, I got 2 kids who joined band initially for that reason too. It just created these pockets of small positive groups that they've really clung on to. So love all the mentoring. We know that mentoring makes a difference, and there is a huge need for mentors who've gone a little bit further down the road to invest in young people. Let me ask you a personal question if I can, Jeannean. And you couldn't pay me enough to become a teenager again. You really couldn't. It was a difficult time. But what advice would older Jeannean give to teenage Jeannean about life?
I would say that life's always going to throw challenges at you. There's always going to be problems, but every problem has a solution. And that even though it doesn't seem like it, there's always somebody that is willing there to help. And definitely just, what I just said also, just choosing the right friends and the ones that would be there for you. Every problem's overcomable and it makes you stronger. So that's definitely advice I would have given myself.
Well, that's good advice for me today. I'm still struggling to believe that sometimes, but I know there's a lot of truth in it. Jeannean, what you're doing is really incredible and we love it and it's inspirational, but I know it's a hard work as well. What is the joy in doing this for you?
The biggest joy is just knowing that just me by myself, little me in Casselberry with my 3 kids, I can make a difference. And I've seen it firsthand that just showing love and speaking truth in a kid's life, how it can change their life and change the direction. And I've seen it with my girls' friends growing up for, 13, 14 years now, so many times over and over, just loving on a child, how it can change their behavior and figuring out why are they acting out. Maybe they just don't feel loved or you don't know the root of that problem. And so it just brings joy knowing that you can make a difference. And I'm just hoping that as they get older, they'll realize that someone took the time for them, even if it was just one conversation and they'll do the same, they'll pass it on and continue to be a light, to be a beacon.
Just to underscore that, you are making a difference, Jeannean, and listener, you can make a difference too. You have gifts and experiences and talents and wisdom that even just the kindest word could change the trajectory of someone's life. And we would certainly encourage us all to keep asking that question, what can we do to make a difference? Jeannean, as often happens with these great conversations, we run out of time so quickly. But if people are keen to connect with you, to understand more about your work, maybe even get involved with your work or use their life to make a difference, how can they connect with you?
We're always taking volunteers to help with all of our groups. Our groups right now are every Thursday night at 6:30 at the Ascension Lutheran Church, but I also have an email, clubs@casselberrylighthouse.com. So if they want to contact and have any questions, they can email me or just show up on Thursday nights at 6:30.
That's awesome. So clubs@casselberrylighthouse.com. That sounds like the kind of email address that will have a website attached to it. And that's under the coming soon headline, right?
Yep, it is.
All right. Jeannean, thank you so much for your time today. But beyond that, thank you so much for all you're doing in our community to make a difference in the lives of some of our most vulnerable community members. Thank you so much.
Wow, Andy. Jeannean was a fantastic guest. Really enjoyed hearing her heart. Clearly, it's just evidence of the things that she values and is passionate about in helping those young ladies in our community. And so would encourage all to follow up with her about the Lighthouse Girls. Andy, you've got big shoes to fill today. Would you close out our episode giving us some more inspiration?
I don't think I can come close. What an inspirational life that Jeannean is living. She's a full-time mom, full-time wife, got a full-time job, yet she still cares enough to invest in people in our community. And for me, she is a champion of our community. And talking of champions, that's where we get our quote today from Billie Jean King, who said this: "Champions keep playing until they get it right." Very simply, champions keep playing until they get it right. The thing I love about this quote, Drew, Robin, is that so often it is so easy to quit when things don't go right. But this encouragement is absolutely true. If we want to get better, if we want to win at life, if we want to make a difference, if we want our life and activities to count, we must not quit. Should we tweak? Yeah. Should we learn? Yes. Should we grow? Absolutely. But don't quit. Champions keep playing whatever the game until they get it right.
Andy, thank you. And agreed. We hope, listener, that you will not quit. And that includes not quitting on listening to this podcast every week. We sure hope you've enjoyed our conversation of the What's Up Casselberry podcast, a casual conversation about our community. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Make sure you give a shout out to our lovely producer, Robin Kepi, aka Beyonce. For more information, check out our website, Facebook page, Instagram feed, all with the name What's Up Casselberry. And until next time, we hope you have a great week.